Bloomberg-ийн ялгсаа эхэлж байна. 6 тэрбум долларын орлоготой дэлхийд даяар 4200-аад зоч дуудлыг өртөн сүлжээнд нэгдсэн Best Western International-ийн гүйцэтгэх захирал ноён Дэвид Конгтой бид ярилцж байна. Америк нэгдсэн улсын Phoenix хотын төвтэй тус компаниуд олон улсын зоч дуудлын томоохон брэндүүдийн нэг мөн Хойд Америк, Аз, Австрали гээд бүхий л төвд үйл ажиллагаа явуулдаг. Хамгийн сүүлд Best Western International Myanmarт өөрийн самбаранаас юм. Mr. Kong, welcome to Bloomberg.
Thank you very much.
Let's talk about, to start with, the Best Western business model. Considered one of the very successful ones. Tell us about it more and what differentiates from others.
Okay, well, we've been around for 69 years. Next year we're going to have our 70th anniversary, one of the most recognizable brands out there and one that has a very rich and long history. We started out being a small collection of hotels in California, and we've now grown to be the largest hotel brand in the world. About 4,100 hotels in 110 countries. We have a different business model than most franchise companies. We have what's called a membership association model, where every hotel has a voice in the direction of a company. And because of that, I think we are more successful in the sense that we certainly, because of the hotel's voice, have the best interests of the customers at heart. And also we operate much more effectively and efficiently at the hotel level.
Mm-hmm. And you, obviously there was already a presence here in Mongolia, but what was your expectation in terms of, Mongolia and the country as a whole?
Well, before I came, I've heard all kinds of great things about Mongolia, how fast it's growing and how nice the people are, and the business climate being very conducive to business development. And certainly just having been here for a few short hours, I can definitely sense that. And growing up, I've always been intrigued with the romance of Mongolia, with Genghis Khan and the culture and the history, and I'm looking forward to experiencing that.
And overall, was it the kind of, pulse, seize the opportunity kind of a decision to enter Mongolia, or was it, after a steady, slow kind of study and press checks and, what was the initial decision?
Mongolia has always been one of those countries that have the natural beauty, has the wonderful history and culture, and also has nice natural resources. So it's always been a country that we've been interested in. And of late, because of the improvements in the business climate, we definitely saw the opportunity to come in. And I think we came in at just right time. We have 2 hotels here now, the Best Western Premier and the Best Western. And I just heard today that the number of hotels and number of hotel rooms are going to be doubling, quadrupling in just a matter of 18 months or so.
Mm-hmm. When you looked at Mongolia, did it feel like a typical Asian country? Was it something with a touch of a European, incident?
I think it has the best of a lot of what other countries offer. It has the wonderful people, which is really important for tourism. The quality of the hotel here that I saw, because they're all new construction, makes the product very competitive. And you can provide the best in technology now, like the Best Western Premier has smart TVs that's hooked up to the internet. It's got modems in every single room, which guarantees high-speed internet access. And because the hotel is new, you can afford to do those things. So I think it's going to make it very attractive.
Mm-hmm. You operate in 3 tiers, obviously, starting from Best Western to Best Western Premier. Why you thought that Best Western Premier actually could fit well into Mongolian hospitality?
Yeah, I think what Best Western offers is a range of product. We have the one kind of product, the Best Western, which is how the company started, as a solid mid-scale hotel brand that offers great value and wonderful accommodation, clean, quiet, comfortable accommodation. And then we have the Best Western Plus, which is one step above the Best Western, and then the Best Western Premier, which is what the best the brand can offer. Mm-hmm. And those 3 different levels basically speak to the broad spectrum of what travelers need nowadays. You have the reasonable, affordable, good value kind of accommodation, and then you have the luxurious type of accommodation at Best Western Premier.
Mm-hmm. And traditionally, Mongolians are very generous and kind hosts. Right. But when it comes to hotel business and especially customer service, I need to be really frank with you. We're not really that good. Very, very, sometimes not very satisfactory. Did you have that factor something challenging, or was it something that you thought that you could overcome? And how do you think that it compares? The present state is comparing with something that you had in mind previously.
Well, what you described is not unusual. There are a lot of developing countries where the hotel market is just starting to boom, where we find that to be a bit of a challenge, namely the availability of qualified talent. But there's nothing that you can't overcome, because fundamentally, I find the Mongolian people to be very nice, very kind-hearted, and very outgoing and fun-loving. So you've got the basics of what defines hospitality, and we're in the hospitality business. So I think it's just a matter of training and exposure. And I'm also very heartened that Mongolia has long had this exchange program with the United States. So a lot of people here are quite well versed in speaking English and writing English and communicating English. So I think you have a tremendous advantage in that regard.
Mm-hmm. And following up on that point, I must say, what's the best Western secret or a training module to best customer service?
We have long set a vision for the company to lead the industry in superior customer care. Certainly, you look at the Best Western Premier here, we have the best in terms of hotel product experience, we have the best that can be expected. But what defines the experience is usually not the product experience. It is the emotional connection with the guest. That's why we set a vision statement to be the best at providing that customer care. And that's what our hospitality industry is about.
And expansion plan in Mongolia, especially in light of slow but growing competition locally.
Yeah, I was quite impressed to hear that the number of hotels and number of hotel rooms are going to be doubling, tripling, and quadrupling at that very fast rate. But this certainly speaks to the market having that pent-up demand, and therefore people rushing in to fill that unmet demand right now. And with the infrastructure being put in place, I heard that the road from the airport to the hotel was just recently completed. You look at that 3-lane each way highway, you say, wow, the country is getting ready from an infrastructure standpoint. And I heard about a new airport, which is certainly going to improve the lift factor into the city. And I think all those things bode well.
Share with us your recent addition to your portfolio in Myanmar, and how especially does that compare to doing business here in Mongolia and operating a hotel business?
Myanmar is one of those charming stories in the hotel industry. You look at that country, how it's progressed over the years, and it represents one of the hottest markets in the hotel industry now, Myanmar. And it is going through some growing pain like all the other booming, emerging markets represent. But I think it's, again, to what I was speaking to earlier, because of the new construction and the people being very eager to please, they are all the attributes that define a successful hotel market.
Overall, do you think that there are similarities between Myanmar and Mongolia, or there were a different set of challenges?
I think there are a lot of similarities. Both in the corporate business side of things, meaning foreign investment coming into the country, and the domestic market, the growth of middle class, all boding. I mean, they all bode well for the hotel industry.
And just speaking generally, what do you think is now the biggest challenge that the hotel, in industry, hospitality business is facing right now, and how do you think it would be changed over the coming years?
Well, the hotel industry faces, depending on where you are, faces a number of challenges.
Let's start with the growth area. The growth area is considered to be Asia, or is it no longer North America, I suppose?
You're right. The mature markets like North America and Europe don't represent the kind of opportunities that we see in South America, in Africa, and in Asia. Asia is, I think most people would tell you, the center of the universe now. Everything is shifting to Asia, so it represents a huge market.
So you see a lot of potential, for growth in Asia,
Absolutely.
especially which part?
Obviously, the big countries like India and China, but I've been impressed with our growth in South Korea, been impressed with Thailand, where we have 18 hotels now, and Japan has always been strong, and then you have all the smaller countries like Myanmar and Malaysia. Indonesia is growing very, very fast also.
And you operate more than 40, nearly 4,200 hotels worldwide, and almost half of the operation is based in North America. But do you think that picture is changing right now? And if so, by expanding to India and all those frontier markets, how quickly do you think the picture is going to change?
It's changing very fast. I've been the CEO for the company for a little over 10 years. I've seen that mix change rapidly. The number of hotels that we have in the United States pales by comparison to what we're seeing around the world. It's just growing tremendously quickly, especially in the countries and the regions I mentioned, South America and Africa and Asia.
And I was preparing for the interview and looking through the materials, and you took over as CEO in 2004. And since then, what has been the major priority for the group? Especially, what I'm most interested about hearing is that what has been the David Kong signature?
Okay, well, we've had a brand image challenge because
early on when you first started.
Yeah, when I first started, I didn't think Best Western got the recognition and the business that it deserves. It's been around for longer than just about any other brand. And we've been doing a lot of things right. So I set out to improve the image of the brand. And we did that by, first of all, focusing on the quality of our hotels. And I've heard people say, well, the North American Best Western hotels are not a good representative of the hotels that we see in Europe, for example, and Asia. And they're probably right in some regards. So we went about enforcing our quality standards and separated from about 1,000 hotels in the last 8 years. So that's a major investment that we've made in quality. And I think the hotels in North America now I'm proud of every one of them. And so we've made a big stride in that regard. And for a long time, our brand was a bit confusing because all the hotels are under the Best Western brand name, one brand. And as you can imagine, we have a variety of product experiences. We have the ones that offer the basic good value kind of experience, and we have the ones that are like a premier level experience. So to address that confusion problem, we introduced what we call the descriptor program. We wanted the name to explain the product experience a guest would see. So that's why we split the brand into Best Western Plus, and then Best Western Premier. And of late, because of the other trends that are emerging in the hotel industry, namely extended stay, service apartment kind of concept, we introduced the brand executive residency. We saw the booming boutique hotel craze, very, very popular in especially Europe and North America. We created a boutique brand as well called Vibe, as in vibrant. It's been an instant success. We've been written up in over 100 publications, and great kudos to that brand. And I think in short order, we'll see a bunch of them open up in Chicago and Los Angeles and Miami, these really hot markets. And then lastly, there's been a growing trend towards soft branding, meaning you lend your reservation system to independent hotels and help them position themselves. And so we endeavored into that field as well. We launched the BW Premier Collection as a soft brand. So now we've grown from one brand to 6 brands that are very much in touch with what the industry needs today.
And I was expecting you to say, for example, how you converted kind of the resource planning to digital.
Yes, well, definitely we have to pay attention to how people book nowadays. And our bestwest.com has been ranked the industry's best hotel website for 4 years in a row. And electronic marketing obviously is important. We are very gratified that TravelClick, one of the biggest electronic commerce companies, named Best Western as the e-market of the year 3 years in a row. So we've won a lot of awards in the digital world as well.
And when you notice, speaking of your observation, how is that changing over time? The digital resource planning post the global booking system?
It's grown